Hey neighbor, it's that time of the year for us, the 1st July, when our garden starts going backwards. You know, we still got a few things thriving in the garden, sweet potatoes, okra, but for most of our plots, they're on their way out and it's time to move on. And we need to think about what we're going to do now. So I've got this plot here that I had Super B Flacillia in. Super B Flacillia is gone by the wayside and I need to figure out what I'm going to do here. Well, I want to use a cover crop, but here we are in July, garden's going down and it's going to be tough for the next 6 to 8 weeks. It's going to be hot and dry. I got a little traveling to do. Probably not going to be able to spend as much time in the garden as I do in other times of the year, but I want a cover crop out here because I don't want to leave these spots bare. And several reasons for that. One reason is nutrient cycle. We want to keep these nutrients in cycle. We want to plant something so those nutrients come up to the top, go into that plant. We extinguish that crop and goes back into the soil, and we keep that cycle going so it's available to our next crop other than just leaving our soil bare. Another reason is erosion. We get one of those heavy rains here. We don't want our bare soil washing away, so we want something there, some root system there to hold our soil in place. And last but not least, pollinators. Oh, I'm a huge believer in these native pollinators now. So my bumblebee population is good. My native bee population is probably better than it's ever been. So I want to make sure I'm planting some out here so the pollinators have something to feed on during this hot period of the summer. So I got this plot and we've kind of tilled it up. Now we didn't get this extremely well prepared because we're just using a cover crop. We did till it up so that it's nice and soft. So now the question is which summer cover crop to use. So our options are black oil sunflower, and that's your standard sunflower, and it would work good because it is going to keep those nitrates recycled. It's really good about scavenging phosphorus and potassium and keeping them in the nutrient cycle, and it's good for the pollinators, and it makes a nice pretty bloom also. The downside of it is it makes a pretty good sized stalk, and it can be hard to extinguish with equipment such as a lawnmower or tiller. You really need a tractor or some kind of flail mower to extinguish it or get rid of it. That's really the only downside to it. And then we got sun hemp, which is one of my favorite ones. Sun hemp grows pretty tall. It's a legume, so it creates nitrogen in the soil. It's a soil builder, has a lot of organic matter to it. Man, the pollinators love it, but the cows and goats and that kind of thing absolutely love it. Last year I planted it in my big plot, had a brand new fence next to the neighbor. The cows pushed down a brand new fence trying to get to the sun hemp. Sun hemp is probably one of my favorite summertime cover crops. The downside of sun hemp is it's hard to get rid of. It makes a huge stalk, bigger than the sunflower does. And it's very hard to get rid of with that big stalk. Very fibrous system there. It takes a really good rotary mower with a tractor to get rid of it. It just doesn't work extremely well in these small plots like we have right here that I have limited access with equipment with. I'm just going to use a BCS walk behind tiller with a flail mower and a tiller right here. So sun hemp does not work real good for me in these small plots. Other than that, I love it for bigger plots. And then we have sorghum Sudan grass, and this is, just like it says, a grass. It's monocot. Doesn't get very high, probably about knee high. Now this is a good long-term summer cover crop. If you're not going to be able to, not planning on reusing this spot for a while, this is a perfect choice. If it gets too heavy and too dense on you, you can go in there and cut it high and it'll come back out. So if you got a plot you're not planning on using for the next 6 months, and you want a good dense coverage, and you had something like tomatoes or peppers in the plot, sorghum Sudan grass is a perfect cover crop for those small plots in your backyard vegetable garden. Buckwheat, which is one of those unusual ones for most people, but buckwheat is a great one if you got a weed problem. If you're trying to suppress those weeds, buckwheat is probably the fastest growing summer crop that we carry. Grows fast, grows faster than pigweed, so it can actually shade out the pigweed, which I know is unheard of, but it is a good one. Another thing too, the bees love it. The fastest growing cover crop has a right nice bloom on there, but it is a shorter term cover crop. It's not going to last as long as some of the rest of them are, but it works great in situations where you want to feed the pollinators and you need a quick turnover. Iron clay peas is a cow pea, and it works wonderful as a cover crop. Now the reason I like to use this a lot of times, if I've got a plot that's got a problem with root knot nematodes do not like iron clay peas, so we can plant them in there and starve those nematodes out. Also, the foliage for these iron clay peas are great for grazing for you guys that like to graze your garden plots. If you've got livestock you need to feed, you can plant them iron clay peas out there where it's good as a cover crop and as a grazer. Super B Flacilla, that's what I had in this plot here. Now Super B Flacilla is probably one you've never heard of before. And we have it listed as a summer cover crop, but it actually does best in the spring and the fall. It doesn't thrive in the hot summer. So you want to use it as a go-to between your winter and your summer cover crops and the spring and the fall. One of my favorites, I love it. I'm telling you, the bumblebees absolutely love this stuff. I had more pollinators in my garden this year, and I attribute a lot to that Super B Flacilla. It's also a good nutrient scavenger, and what I like best about it is it does fill those voids in the fall and the spring. But I'm not going to plant it back here this time because it's too hot, and I don't want to follow Super B Flacilla with Super B Flacilla. But it is one of my all-time favorites. Brown top millet is another nice summer cover crop. Now this one's going to be one of those that's going to last a little bit longer. So if you've got that plot and you need that cover crop to last for 3 or 4 months, this is a good one. It also makes good grazing, as I mentioned before, with the iron clay peas. It grows kind of slower than some of the rest of it. Pretty dense if you seed it in there. It's not the fastest growing one, but if you want a middle of the road good cover crop that's going to last you for a while, millet's going to work for you. Last but not least is red ripper peas, and this is one of them that you can use as a cover crop and also as a food source. We love those red ripper peas. We've been growing them for about 7 or 8 years. Dark red pea, it's absolutely delicious, and it's pretty prolific in how it produces those peas. So you can harvest those peas, eat them, and also you have it as a cover crop. Now the red ripper is what we classify as an indeterminate vine. That means that vine grows like crazy. So that's what makes it so good as a cover crop. You can plant it and then those vines just cover over there and smother those weeds out. You have a lot of vine there that you can work back into your soil from organic matter, and it's a legume as well, so you're going to attract that nitrogen in there. So it's a dual purpose one that we really like is red ripper pea. So the one we decided to use today on this plot here is going to be buckwheat. And the reason I like buckwheat for this application is I'm going to flip this plot here pretty quick, probably end of August, 1st September, so that gives me about 6 to 8 weeks, and I'm going to flip this baby back in and I'm going to use it to plant for my fall garden. And it's going to feed those pollinators. Those bees love buckwheat. I have a little bit of a pigweed problem here, so this is going to work good, shading out and suppressing that pigweed. This plot's about 1,200 square feet, and the seeding rate on this buckwheat is 1 to 2 pounds per 1,000. I always like to go a little bit on the heavy side on my seeding rate, so we're going to put about 2 pounds on this 1,200 square foot plot. Now, as far as how to put these seeds out, there's a couple different ways. We can broadcast them, or we can just take our hand and put them out. I've actually had this solo little spreader here for a number of years, and I like this thing because it puts it out more even than I can get it by hand. It's pretty easy to use. You just snap it on your shoulder and you just walk through there and twirl this little thing here, and it throws out our buckwheat seed. If you don't have that, you can simply just take your hand, go out there and just try to get it as even as possible and scatter your seeds out in your garden. Now you can plant these things in rows, but most of the time I broadcast them out. With seed depth, normally speaking, the smaller the seed, the less you want to cover it. Now these buckwheat seeds are fairly good size, and we're going to rake those in. If you got very, very small seeds, you can probably get by with rolling them in and pressing them in. But I always like to cover my seeds up a little bit. And the bigger the seed, the deeper you can cover it up. But we're going to water this in with a sprinkler, so I never cover mine more than 1/4 to 1/2 inch. So I'm going to water this plot here about once a day for the next few days till those seeds emerge. And the reason is, if I didn't rake some of them in and they still have some seeds on top, that constant moisture is going to give that seed an opportunity to sprout and come up as well. Now, I normally don't use fertilizers on my cover crops. Cover crops need to stand for themselves. I don't want that added cost or work involved in it. Cover crops is a wonderful tool to use in your garden, but remember, each cover crop is good at certain things. So keep in mind as you choose a cover crop, what kind of equipment you have to work in your garden, to plant it, to get rid of it. Also, what do you want that cover crop to achieve? Biomass, organic matter for the soil, pollinators, nitrogen cycle scavengers, whatever it may be. There's certain cover crops that are better than others are at that. If you've used cover crops before, you know exactly what I'm talking about, how beneficial they are. If you have not, believe me, it's a game changer in the backyard vegetable garden.